wild nut, man. I can't help it. All right, moving on to wide receivers. They end up still having Allen Robinson. He's going to be their wide receiver one. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Allen Robinson. He had 900 yards. I think it was like 4 or 5 touchdowns, I believe, for last time looking at his stats. He's getting paid almost the same exact money as Devontae Adams, Ryan. And this guy is barely putting up half of what Adams is. And I had Bears fans telling me all over the place that he's going to have a breakout year. And I just keep saying, no, it's not going to happen. He is not the same receiver we saw in Jacksonville pre-ACL tear. Allen Robinson was a beast in Jacksonville, and then just tore the ACL and was never the same again. He just isn't. He is meant to be if anything, if he really wants to regain his form, he needs to be used correctly as a correct wide receiver one. In Nagy's offense / Andy Reid's offense, you have so much weapons around you. You don't need to rely on wide receiver one. And I think Allen Robinson isn't that guy to kind of put it on his shoulders. I actually think my next guy, Anthony Miller. They picked him up as a rookie last year in the 3rd round. Anthony Miller, God, he's so good. He reminds me of a little bit of Antonio Brown because he's a little undersized, but he has the speed and he has the strength to go up and get the ball. He just reminds me of Antonio. Yeah, and his route running is great as well too. So
I wanted him on the Packers.
Well,
him and DJ
not every dog can have a
I
day.
wanted both of those guys. Those wide receivers, I really liked in that draft. The one that went to Carolina, he's like Steve Smith.
DJ he looks like he's about to take a jump this year in Carolina too.
Yeah. But I liked Anthony Miller a lot. I was mad when the Bears got him.
Well, yeah, because he's that weapon X in the a receiving game past the running back of like Tariq Cohen. Is you can use him anywhere. You can use him on the outside because of how fast he is. You can use him in the slot because of how technical he is, and his hand strength and his catch radius for being a smaller guy is ridiculous. I think he's going to be used a ton. I think the guy that kind of gets phased out here is Taylor Gabriel. And I know people tell me, yeah, well, he had over 800 yards last year. I got that. He also didn't utilize Miller as much as they're going to use him this year. Gabriel is a one-trick pony. He's able to go and run really fast in a straight line, and he's really good at it. But with Mitch's arm strength obviously not showing up the first 3 years of his career, I just don't see the deep pass being utilized as much. And especially with our next guy I'm bringing up is Riley Ridley. He played for Georgia last year. I got to watch him a lot on Saturdays. The kid can ball. He's more of a technical wide receiver, really crisp routes, really good hands. Not the fastest 40 time, but he's able to get the technical route and the separation in, and that's what makes him dangerous. And I think he has a chance to out Taylor Gabriel because of the fact I just don't think the deep pass is going to be utilized as more because they couldn't seem to get Mitch's accuracy fixed with the deep ball.
Obviously I studied a lot of players in this draft. I wasn't a big Riley Ridley fan. I wasn't really impressed with what I saw with him, so I'm not too worried about him. To me, he just didn't stand out in anything.
Well, there's actually one more guy that I have a sleeper. Actually, I have 3 of them. 2. I'm sorry, 2 of them. I have a sleeper on the Bears roster. Javon Wims has been. He was on the Bears last year, and he was buried in the depth chart, and he was injured a little bit. But man, he has been tearing up training camp this year, and people are raving about him and saying he can be like the next Muhsin Muhammad for the Bears because of how he plays, his size. And I think the Bears offense could really use a wide receiver like that because Allen Robinson ain't showing it. So why not let the kid try it and do it? Another one is Emmanuel Hall, straight speedster. kind of like a Corey Grant, but in a wide receiver aspect. Like I can't say Trevor Davis because Emmanuel Hall's a little bit bigger than Trevor Davis is, and he's just straight speed. And with Nagy's offense, that's what you need, man. I mean, we saw that with Cohen, and I think that could be used wisely in that offense if they keep Mitch's throws 25 or 30 yards below that max. If they keep the throws 25 to 30 yards, I think they're solid. They go for deep passes, I think they're in trouble, and Mitch is going to be turning over the ball. Moving on to...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
I like Emmanuel Hall. He's a rookie this year. They drafted him this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Because I watched some of his stuff too. I don't mind him. I could see what you just said. I think is correct. I could see him in that offense being a weapon. I don't think he'll pick it up right away, but I could see that happening.
It's just the fact that there's not a lot of speedster and weapon X's there besides Miller and Cohen. And Reed and Nagy's offense need weapon X's, and you have multiple of them. So if you just don't have a lot of them, you need as many as you can get in that offense to be able to run it. And I think Hall can show out in that.
Can I just say this about the Bears' offense? I think their offense is going to have big problems this year. I think
actually it's one of my next point is coming up.
Team is going to rely a lot on the defense because I think not only is the quarterback in for an actual sophomore slump because you can't count last year because it's a new offense, new system, so it's like a rookie year all over again. And I believe the head coach is in for an offensive scheme year 2 slump, and it's going to take. We're going to actually see the testicle fortitude and the ingenuity of Nagy this year because he ain't going to be able to pull the same tricks out of the bag that he used last year.
Oh, no. We know his offense now. Everyone has a whole tape on it.
And
yeah.
They really don't have a Devontae Adams. They don't have an Aaron Jones. Like, as good as Tariq Cohen's is, he's not going to get you 5.5 yards per carry. It's just not.
It's not Cohen. It's Montgomery that they're saying
exactly.
That's going to be doing that.
But, again, that's a rookie. You don't know, even though it's a running back. But they don't have those horses that even though the Packers, they want to rag on them, the Packers have a few horses at some spots that you just can't put your finger on that guy yet. Not saying that it can't happen this year, but when we're projecting right now,
no, I get what you're saying.
You don't have those guys really,
I definitely get what you're saying. Actually, you make a great point to why I go to offensive line now. So last year they had Charles Leno. They're keeping him at left tackle. He did well. He was a top 20 left tackle. But last year he also faced a Perry, Clay Matthews that weren't doing well. And actually Perry ended up beating Leno on the play that saved the Packers' win last year against the Bears. And if Perry can do that to him, he's now going against Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary and Zadarius Smith this year. It's a whole new animal they're going to be facing on the pass rush for Charles Leno. He's solid, but he's not anything like a Bakhtiari or Tyrone Smith. This is where I don't understand what the Bears were thinking. I got buddies, fans who are Bears. I love you guys, but I've told them this, just like I'm telling you guys now. They had Cody Whitehair at center last year. He finished out as a top 10 center last year. First year doing it. Or no, second year doing it. His first year was 2 years ago. It was a little rough. But second year, top 10 center, looked studly, looked like he was going to be there. Well, last year they drafted James Daniels. They put him at left guard. For some reason, Nagy wants to switch his top 10 center out to left guard and move the left guard who was supposed to be center last year to center this year. It doesn't make sense. You have guys that made the running lane last year at the positions they were in, and now you throw a rookie from last year, a second-year player, into finally playing center after he got used to playing left guard, and he actually did well at it. It blows my mind. Ryan, is there anything you want to say on that?
For a disaster to me.
You're facing a whole new defensive front in Green Bay. It sounds like it's ready to explode.
I think you're onto something because as you were talking, I was already kind of thinking a lot of the same thoughts in terms of the way I look at it is like this. I look at it in how do we, the Green Bay Packers, our defense and our offense, how do we compare to the Bears, right? Because the Bears are going to be what they are against all these other teams. But what I care about are the two games that we play them, and how do we match up? And I think this defense, specifically the Packers defense against that Bears offense, this time around matches up so much better this year. That
Bears offense has never seen Pettine's full defense with Packers and the talent they have this year. This is a whole new thing they've never seen.
This is going to be different, and you can. They don't have guys like at wide receiver like you're talking about, where you're just like, all right, we don't have someone who can cover that guy. They don't have that at all. Their best wide receiver in my mind is going to be Anthony Miller when he breaks out, but Jair Alexander will shut him down.
I was just thinking, when you said that, Ryan, I was just literally thinking, in most games, you have to dedicate your best coverage guy to their best receiver. Literally, you can go throughout the game as Patton and pick out whoever's hot at the time and shut him down and not have it disrupt your defense and what you want to do. That is a recipe for disaster for an offense. You know what I mean? Like,
perfect example last year, Trey Burton was tearing us up in the first half of week one. Tearing us up. We were down 20-3. Pettin freaking came back, adjusted his defense accordingly, and allowed only a field goal in the whole second half. And doing it, mind you, with Kentrell Bryce and Ha-Ha Clinton Dix. That's something
really good, right?
By the way, just to give you a heads up, Adrian Amos, I thought Bears fans told us that Adrian Amos can't get interceptions. He had 2 of them today.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just saying. No, okay, moving on.
It's a different defense going against that offense. We match up so much better this year. I'm not worried about it.
Right,
I think Savage is going to eat Mitch alive.
And you don't think that Amos has a few tricks of the trade of what that offense likes to do?
I know. I'm not saying he doesn't, but Savage he's a ball hawk, man.
And he can teach. He can tell. Those are things that are going to matter too. All right, moving on to the defense, Dave. So,
anyways, hold on.
I'm starting to yawn here, man.
Anyways, Kyle Long, he's been injury prone. He got extended. They ended up picking up a rookie in Joe Lowry this year for the Bears, but Kyle Long, he's been good when he's healthy. He just hasn't been on the field a lot for the Bears. Hopefully he can stay healthy because he's actually pretty damn good when he's healthy. Moving on, Bobby Massey on the right tackle. He graded out, I believe, somewhere in all the tackles of like 25 to 31, I believe, are the numbers that are coming to mind. And it just wasn't good, and he's going to have to be the sacrificial lamb for Rashawn Gary and Zadarius Smith experiment, because they've been stunt blitzing on the right side immensely through camp, and Bobby Massey and Kyle Long are going to have to experience those two young cats going after Mitch. I can't wait for this. And with Bobby Massey, he's okay. He's not solid, but I think he's going to get toasted a little bit to start off week one against the Packers defense. Moving to tight end, Trey Burton signed a big deal last year, but interesting fact, apparently he told Matt Nagy he doesn't want to run block. That is what he told his head coach over the offseason, and it's caused kind of a bit of a stir. And finally, they have their second string guy, Adam Shaheen, healthy, and he is finally showing up in training camp, making some catches, but he was out 7 games, so maybe he can earn a little bit more time, especially Trey Burton's comments. Ben Browndecker is more of a goal line tight end, but can be used as a red zone specialist. They've got a good core tight ends. I can't believe Trey Burton said that to his head coach. It just blows my mind. On to the defense, the starlight of the Chicago Bears. All right, starting on the defensive line, 2 names right off the bat that we both talked about, guys. Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman. They're just nasty. Like, those guys
are
terrorize. They terrorize offensive lines throughout the whole NFL last year. I mean, those two are responsible for why Rodgers has the injury. I'm not saying it was